Good morning, guys. You see this? The joys of homeownership. So we had some friends over a couple days ago, and the boys were playing on the porch, and all up here used to be wood. Now it's all down here. And so the reason that has to do with this is because if you look right here where there's wood hanging and it's a little wet, that's where this belonged. Now I'm not saying they did it because it did freeze, and where this was broken off, it was broken off inside of the brick wall. So I doubt them pushing a little bit of wood, unless it froze and then them hitting, and a piece of wood might have hit it and made it a little worse. But I'm not blaming them. They were being kids and having a good time. It was a great time having friends over too, so I'm not worried about that. But it is supposed to get down to 28 degrees tonight, so this needs to be fixed. Being the homesteader and hoarder, I did have some of the pieces already. First, let's run to Lowe's. We're back. So, I went into Lowe's. I was like trying to find pieces to fit for this, and I did. But and I came across this, and this is another hose bib, but it is one of the frost freeze proof ones, whatever. I guess builds up pressure, comes out the top, things like that. So I was like, if we're gonna do this, let's make it where we don't possibly have to do it again. So I got this. Spent a little bit more than I wanted to because I could have just fixed that, but in the long run, it'll probably save me money. We're gonna have to try to figure out how we're gonna bust a hole through the block for this. Hopefully we can kind of chisel out a hole, get this through, and then we'll hit the basement. So we're in the bushes. Stupid bush. I hate bushes. Alright, so I'm next to the house where the thing busted off. And we gotta figure out how we can bust the hole. Now I could have bought a concrete bit. This thing says to bore out a hole according to the directions. Yes, I read the directions because I don't want to mess this up. It says taladre un aguacate. I'm just kidding, that's the Spanish side. Bore a 1 1/4 inch hole through the foundation wall. And I went to find a concrete bit that was 1 1/4 inches or more, and they didn't have it. They had inch ones. But it was $30. Now, so I'm not gonna spend $100 on fixing this hose bib. So we're gonna do it the man way. We're gonna chisel the hole out. Try to, this bush is in the way. Excuse me. You guys fell, you okay? You know, thinking twice and cutting once. Before I start chiseling out my wall, let's see if my dad has a masonry bit. That'd be smart. It's always nice living next to your parents and using their junk. As long as you return it. Always return your parents' stuff, or make sure they don't need it before taking it until they do need it. Be like, well, I didn't take it, but I got one you can use. I'll never do that, Dad. It's not always return your stuff. Okay, no bits that I can find. So let's do it. Let's do it the other way. I believe that homesteading not only entails growing your own food or being self-sufficient. Well, I guess this goes along with being self-sufficient. The fact that being able to fix the stuff that you need to fix on your own home, it's nice. It's nice. It's enjoyable. learn from my mistakes and pay the $30. It might have worked a little bit better. It didn't work too bad because there's already a hole there. So, but I hope it made it to the other side. That's really my concern, is I didn't measure the block, you know, how far it is. I just bought the 6-inch thinking that that might be right. So we're about to find out.
3 hours later.
The unfortunate part is that first bib, or silcock, whatever you want to call it, was too short. So I went back, actually went to a different place, which is closer, and bought a longer one. And also, this, you can see how it flares out. It's thicker than the other one I was using that actually fit in the hole. So now I had to spend even more time and money to do this. As soon as I get it installed, I'm going to touch on some points and give you my honest review of this. So let's see if we can get this in, and then we'll talk. All right, well, it fit in the hole. I'm scared to go in the basement now and see if it made it through. I'm pretty sure, because the other one was 6 inches and it was about an inch away from coming through the wall. This was 10 inches. Should give me some room where I can install this piece and hook the pipe. I'll show it to you. I'll get down there and I'll show it to you. But here's what it looks like. Just this, and then I took all the innards out and I'll slide those in. But right now I've got to drill some holes in here into the concrete so that it holds this steady. I don't know if I mentioned this. Hate bushes. Hate bushes. I have my own little small bit. So you can see we're in the basement. I've got it connected with the primer and the glue. One thing I believe in is like making things easier for the next time if I have to do them. So what I did is, so you can see behind me, a pressure tank, water line comes off of it. There's a shut off valve for the whole house. Comes up, splits, whatever. Right here is a split that goes to the hose bib. So if you look on this side, I put a shut off valve on down here. The reason I did that is because when I first had to come down here, shut the water off, I literally had to shut the whole house off while I worked on this. That's not fun for the wife. So I cut it off for a little bit, installed the shut off valve, you know, and then shut it off. And that way I was able to put the water back on, turn the water back on, and then I can work on what's going on in there. I can try to show you. So we got light. So, all right. So that's where it comes out of the wall. And then I connected that piece right there, and that runs all the way to the wall, through the wall here. I'm letting the glue set before I open that valve up, test everything out to the spigot. And then we'll touch on some things that I feel like you need to know. Alright, it's the next day. I had to catch my composure and really think about what I wanted to say about my project. Character flaw myself is I get really discouraged if I'm not able to perform a task well the first time. It's something I work on constantly. But so I've calmed down. Like I said, it's the next day. Got the chicken mug. So first I'm going to say, I didn't do everything wrong. I went into the project knowing what I wanted to do. and it's kind of, I don't want to say it's my fault, but I changed the project mid-project. So while I was at Lowe's, I saw the new Silcock, I guess that's what it's called. That's what it says on the box, and decided, hey, I'm gonna get this. I did read the directions while I was in Lowe's and looked for a masonry bit. They didn't have one that size that they asked for, the 1.25 inches, I believe. Yeah, 1.25 inches. They had inch diameter ones. They were like $40. I could have gotten that. Let me say this: it would have worked for the one I got from Lowe's. It would have been an investment that I didn't want to make at the time. I do look at tools as being an investment, but it would have worked for the first one. Now the problem is the first Silcock ended up being too short. I got the 6-inch one and ended up needing a 10-inch one. So that was my first mistake, is I didn't know how long of a piece I needed. So I ended up going back to a store and getting a different one. Well, it was a different brand altogether. And on the end of it, you see I pointed out it's flared a little bit bigger, in which 1.25 inches was needed. I would have had to order it, because even at the True Value that I went to, they still didn't have masonry bits that big. Really, now that I look back at it, I should have just got the hose bib and the fitting, and then the cover, the foam cover for it, and then maybe later on, after seeing the Silcock, could have changed it out. Now that it's in there, I'm pleased with it. Of course, it's gonna make a difference because it's supposed to be freeze proof. Now that it's in, I'm okay with it. Now I do have other hose bibs around that could eventually break, and I will probably just fix them back the way they were, because I can't think of any reason that I would need an 1.25 inch masonry bit, nor do I think my portal cable drill would power through block. I mean, it was over 6 inches, about 7 inches worth of brick that I'd go through. So that's another thing. I'd have to buy a bigger drill, better drill, things like that. So it's just not worth it to me what I did. Would I do it again? No. I actually am gonna go buy the little foam things that go over them to help insulate them during winter time, to keep them from freezing, along with making sure my hoses are drained after use. That's what I wanted to touch on and talk to you about. If this is something that you want to do, I would pay attention to the cost of what it's going to take to install it. If you happen to have the masonry bits and the drill to do it, by all means do it. I mean, if you have the stuff, then yeah, it's completely worth it. I personally do not have the stuff. I also see it being a good thing if you're building a house. I would get the builder or whoever's doing it to install those. You're installing them as things are being built, and it's a good investment because of the fact that it's freeze proof. From my personal experience, what I did, I see a benefit, but it was not beneficial to me to do it this time. Take that how you want. This is just my personal experience. I'm just showing you what I did and what I went through. And so I hope it helps you and gives you something to think about. So I appreciate you hanging out with me, and we'll catch you in the next one.